We are live and in color. And more importantly, one of the few times we're on time because of Doug Maclean, which means we're in for a great hour. We are closing in on 100 episodes here on the Real Kyper at Noon show. And one of the things that we wanted to do is make sure that we got a special guest back in before that 100th show. And happy to announce today that Doug and I do have that special guest to bring in some background on it. Let's go back to the mid-2000s when then program director Nelson Millman of the Fan 590 asked us to help him with a daily hockey show called Hockey Central at Noon. Myself and our next guest were predominantly involved right from the get-go. It had various degrees of what the show was going to be or what was it all about. At times we were told it's a radio show that happens to be on TV. And then new bosses came in and it happened to be a TV show that we put on the radio. But what was crystal clear in all of this was throughout the years, the show hit its height in popularity when our next guest hosted it. And I introduce you, the man who helped Doug Maclean and I jump the shark on Hockey Central at Noon, live from Vegas, baby. It's Daren Millard.
When you jump the shark, your career's over, right?
I tell Doug all the time his career's over.
Yeah, I've jumped the shark.
100 episodes, and now I get in?
Yes. We were building it. This is the first time the three of us have been together in what, three years? 3+ years?
Yeah. 3 years. 100 episodes, and I tell people on the trip the same thing. Like, hey, I just wanted to get established before I had you on. That's all. But 100 episodes is a little extreme.
Nobody said we're established.
You didn't even make the 100th. You're 97.
Oh, well, Connor.
So, Connor, you're Connor.
There's worse people to be compared to.
No.
By the way, Nelson Millman brought you guys together, but what really happened was Nelson Millman was the genius that started the show called The Game Plan with Jack Armstrong and Doug Maclean. That show was unbelievably popular for 8 months.
Wasn't it Pucks and Balls? And we didn't even know whether we thought you were the balls.
That was the best show because neither one of you really had a clue what you were doing as a host. Like who brought you guys in and out of break? Was it Jack?
Oh yeah, Jack was the host. But here's what would happen. If we would do a hockey guy, I would give Jack all the shit questions, like the nasty questions to ask. And then when we'd have Coangelo on, Jack would give me all the vicious questions. And then Jack would go back to the Raptors and Coangelo would say, who's that ass that's on the radio show with you that asks those brutal questions?
A hockey guy. Like,
I'm having cocktails, happy hour with Jack Armstrong's wife, Dina, this afternoon here in South Florida. So I just wanted you to know that little tidbit.
Did you ever follow the NBA ever in your life that you have to go on and talk Raptors back then? Because it didn't take long for Nelson to figure it out and get the hell away from Jack.
Well, what happened was he asked me if I could go in and help clean up Hockey Central at Noon. That's what happened. That was what the breakup of the Game Plan was. I never watched one basketball game or one baseball game, but Jack used to make me sound like I did.
Daren, we had Bill Berg, ex-NHLer. We had Mike Brophy, a veteran writer. We were doing just fine without Mac.
Yeah, Billy Berg was awesome. Like,
he was
nasty dude, and Brof we worked with forever. But then,
go ahead,
Doug. Well, I was just saying, Doug brought a little different vibe to the show. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
we did. Bill Berg and I did
accurate.
that one. We did that one episode where I don't know whether you were gone, you were sick, or we kicked you out. But we brought our hockey equipment and
then you guys changed.
We changed
during the
on
show.
air. Yeah, on air.
and then you went to your backyard rink and you played. So what do you guys? I catch the odd episode. I missed the Dangle ones, but I did catch the one. The reason Dangle caught my attention was because he was on before me. But I tuned into the one after that where Doug was not very happy about Dangle being on.
Oh, no. Anybody that has a chance to look a little bit more popular than Mac, right? Who would like that? Right,
I
Mac?
prefer Alan May to come on because he's such a dead ass and thinks he's really smart, and he gets like a third of the ratings I do. So I rather prefer May to come on. But Dangle's okay. And then he gave me a few shots about, did you know that Doug Maclean drafted Rick Nash?
Do you keep track of ratings like you used to, Mac?
He's horrible. Horrible.
I keep track of ratings of this show and of Sportsnet.
That's not true. Ask our good friend John Shannon and Bob McCowan whether or not. All I hear every other day is, we had more viewers than them. We had more viewers than them.
Oh, it's not even close. It's not even close. It's not even close. But anyway, that's okay.
Well,
look, it's not about that. It's about having you on the show. I mean, look, we have battled to keep. I mean, we remember we had Daren. I came in. We had Daren. Then we lost Daren, and Greg Brady came in, and then we got rid of Brady, and Daren come back. So it's been a lot of tension over the years.
We got rid of Greg Brady. Are you crazy? What are you, like, all of a sudden you made yourself the boss back then?
Well, Scott Moore did.
So, Daren, how many hosts over the years? I remember early, not anybody that came in, but I'm talking about guys that sat in the seat at one point. I remember Roger Lajoie. I remember Doug Fairway.
On Hockey Central at noon?
Forever. Yeah.
Oh, maybe they filled in. Yeah.
Yeah, they filled in. But a few people have sat.
Merrick.
Did Storm and Norman ever fill in?
No, Storm and Norman. I don't think so. It was Hockey Central at noon. Storm and Norman was fast asleep.
He was the late night vampire.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Trying to think of who else might have done it. Stellick would have. For sure.
Yeah, he wasn't very good.
Do you think more of our colleagues are watching us per capita?
Yeah.
Or more of our old bosses are watching us per capita right now?
I don't know.
I'd say neither of them are.
They've got better things to do.
I don't know.
So let me ask you, Daren, as a veteran host, what the hell worked on that show that we were able to kind of strike a nerve in the hockey world? I still haven't got it figured out.
Yeah. Do you like hosting? It's hard, isn't it?
It sucks.
It does suck.
I gotta, even with this guy here in the show. Like,
I've lived that side.
He can't go 10 minutes without putting his head down and looking at his phone while we're in a good conversation. And then you get messages coming across the board. Is he rolling a joint? Is that what he's doing? I'm like, he's in Florida. I guess that's what they do.
That's not true.
Is it not frustrating? Is it not frustrating when your analysts don't really pay attention to what you're trying to do? Do you find that a little frustrating, Kippy?
Oh gosh, it's like babysitting Mac.
I know.
I couldn't wait till you guys got finished the introduction so I could start talking hockey. Like, you used to have all these fancy introductions, and I mean, and I'm there and I'm nodding off and I'm thinking, okay, wrap it up, Daren. Come on, let's talk about the game here. I know you've got to do this great introduction because that's what hosting's all about. And then,
so you would have liked
on the
it.
Edge of my seat.
You would have liked to do it like 3, 2, 1, pop up. Doug, what do you think? That would have been the perfect. Or would Doug? What do you think? Would that have been too much? Would I have been dragging it out too much?
Listen, I had a run of hosts out that really took a long time to get us into the show. A long time. But anyway, look, it's great to have you back.
But now Nick didn't talk to us for the last 10 minutes before we came on the air because he was deep in thought.
Oh, I know.
This is before I get into that, this is where Doug and I really differ, because 30 seconds before the show, I never was shy on leaning on you, because you know what my first question to you was right before the on switch turned.
What are we doing?
Mallard, what are we doing?
What are we doing? That was right after. I need a pen.
That's right. Pen me. And what are we doing? That's where you go to your host.
But Daren, that used to surprise me, because when I was sitting next to him, he was talking to himself. Do you remember his lips were moving? He was talking to himself. And I thought he was doing like getting prepared for what he was going to say. But then he would say, "What are we doing?" I'm thinking, what the hell was he just talking to himself about?
Who's he talking to?
Who the hell was he talking
to? Myself. And if you could read lips, it was always the same. How did I end up with these two knuckleheads? That was the same question I'd ask myself before every show. Okay, Daren, from national television in a major corporation with Rogers to now working with Vegas Golden Knights as a host there. You also have your Chirp podcast that runs on NHL.com. How has life differ in the last 12 months for you?
First of all, living in Las Vegas is amazing. I wasn't a Vegas guy. I had been here for the awards, the expansion draft, and I didn't know everything beyond the Strip. It's awesome. Like, it is a spectacular place to live, raise kids, all of it. Great schools, amazing weather. So that's one part of it. I'd never worked for a team before. My wife had. Worked for the Maple Leafs forever. So we'd always talked about that part of it. Maybe doing something like that. This was a golden opportunity, and it's cool to be, you guys know, you do a game on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, and the game ends in overtime or it's a blowout. You wrap it up. Doug goes to the Four Seasons, and I go home, and you do your regular thing. There's no skin invested in it. Now there's skin invested in it. I care whether we win or whether Vegas loses because of my job and where I work and who I work for, and it's cool to have a stake involved in it, and that's the best part to me, is just working and being part of a team again. And we have a great group of broadcasters here too. That's outstanding.
What catches me off guard, because when you know the name of your podcast is called The Chirp, you are a bit of a chirper, okay?
Yes.
And a very opinionated chirper. As a host, yeah, you were a poker. So what must be very challenging for you is that you can't really chirp the Vegas Golden Knights. You can chirp Colorado, but how challenging is it for a chirper like you to not really be able to say everything that you think about the Vegas Golden Knights?
Do you have your standings there? Because you love standings, and you follow the attendance like crazy, which must be really frustrating this year for you.
It's driving me crazy this year. Well, I know Florida has four.
The Panthers love it.
Florida have 4,000 in the building. I know that.
So go to this is how I handle it, Doug, and that's a good question. Go to winning percentage, points percentage in the overall standings, and you'll see right at the very top at 742 is the Vegas Golden Knights, and it's really easy to not poke or prod or do any of that when your team wins 3 out of every 4 games.
So you're not like Rimmer when he used to criticize our team. I used to say, Rims, remember. Your broadcast is an infomercial. Don't criticize us. You be positive. And if you're not positive, we'll find somebody else who will be positive.
So all you did there, Daren, was get Doug excited when the Vegas Golden Knights eventually become a 542 percentage team, and then he's going to watch you. That's all he's going to do now.
And it happens to everybody.
Right.
I will say this: there's times when you look at teams over the years and you go, how are they doing it? How are they on top like that and winning 7 out of 10 and 8 and 2 in their last 10 all the time? And that's what we watch on a nightly basis here. And the other part about working here that's fun is maybe 3 weeks into my my tenure here, my boss Eric Tosi, who's awesome, came from Boston and runs our department, called me in and said, like, just have more fun. You're in Vegas. You're broadcasting in Vegas, and that opened up not to be goofy or outlandish, but just to have more fun. And it's a lot. It's really enjoyable here.
It is, and I don't know whether the viewers or the listeners can appreciate some of the predicaments that regional broadcasters have. And you know, we know you're paid by Vegas, others aren't, but there's still a responsibility when you cover a team locally that you don't want to completely throw them under the bus. To Doug's point, you know, the team is trying to sell a product.
Yeah,
you know, you can't go and shit all over it. You know, I'm watching now, you know, even Kelly Rudy, the guy's been around forever, a top broadcaster, and yet go get spanked by Winnipeg at home and try to talk about it. It's not easy.
I tend to talk a lot about the other team on those nights.
Yes. Yeah, and you know, that's
how good was the other team. You pick a couple of solid. There's ways to do it, Nick.
Yes,
and there's there's tactful ways to do it. We don't have to do it very often here, but yeah, you got to walk a line there.
Well, there's
how many times have you had to say to your partner Mike McKenna or Gary Lawless, the other guy that's with you once in a while?
Lawless in order, second intermission.
Right. How many times would you say to Lawless in particular and McKenna, Doug and Kippy would have done it this way, Gary, not the way you're doing it? Have you had to do that with them a lot?
Well, yeah, I would say that there's a similar aspect there that, let's put it this way. You guys would have loved the plexiglass between us. That would have been your dream.
I would have loved that.
Yeah, that's one area where you guys would have really enjoyed our broadcast.
Could you have used that when Mac threw the water bottle at you on one of our shows?
Yeah, it was an empty water bottle because he's the most hydrated person I've ever worked with.
It's for skin.
It was good. You threw a water bottle at me. You've done
jog my memory here. Was that the Memorial Cup?
No, that was in studio. That was in the fan. The Memorial Cup.
Right. Yeah.
We got along well at the Memorial Cup because Doug was late a couple of times at the Memorial Cup, and he wasn't as peacocky because he was stuck in traffic and he knew he was in a bit of trouble. Didn't you get
and I also was getting between the father of the player who was trying to get at Kypreos, and I was sort of the bodyguard that night. Remember that?
We won't mention the player, but
no, we won't.
That was okay. This is what happened. The father wasn't happy with something that Nick had said.
No. Sorry, I gotta correct you. Okay, the father at that point got messages from other people saying I was chirping his son at the game. So broken telephone here. He starts coming up the stairs and wants to have a word with me.
And he's a big guy.
Yes, he is a big guy.
He's a fierce guy. So this is Doug playing peacemaker. Yeah, beat it.
Oh my
Nick,
gosh.
Nick, don't say anymore. Beat it. Telling the guy this is not really helping. That guy could take us all out, and you calming our biggest weapon to counter him is counterintuitive to having some kind of chance in this one. And you did. You were like, beat it. Hey, beat it.
Get lost.
Get lost.
Tell the fans also about the other great interview we had at that Memorial Cup with the owner of Mississauga, Eugene Levy.
No, Melnick.
Oh, Melnick, yes. Sorry. Nick
I called him
Eugene Levy.
I did.
By mistake.
2 weeks ago, and he's not letting me forget it. Hey?
Yeah, that was interesting. He was writing our names down before it went on, and then we looked at the paper after, and it wasn't legible. He financed that whole Memorial Cup though. It was wild how much money he put into that thing.
It was a good show. And for the record, I never chirped the player. I was actually it was the opposite. I was saying great things about him.
Yeah.
So where did the message get broken and lost?
Where does it always get lost? On Twitter. Okay, on Twitter.
That's
Anyway,
not
he
the
wasn't
only time
happy.
that didn't you almost get into a scrap early in your days doing color?
Yes. Well, our studio was when you cover junior hockey, there's really no choices except to broadcast, within the fans, the seats. So we were on the first level at the Memorial Cup, but there was a game in Sarnia where Kevin Quinn and I did the broadcast from the middle of the seats.
Mm-hmm.
And we were surrounded by Section 108.
Season ticket holders. And somebody started chirping me. And it got to the point where I while the play was going on, Kevin Quinn watches me stand up, take my mic off, and go, "I've had just about enough of you, buddy." And I'm starting to walk over towards him, and he's grabbing my coat and pulling me back while he doesn't miss a beat of the play-by-play. Tremendous talent. And it was safe to say we've never been in the stands after that covering junior hockey. Do you guys like this division format, or are you ready to go back to the regular format? Because some
are you
people were
hosting
really
or
excited
am I
about it.
hosting?
Sorry.
Are you segueing
Sorry.
somewhere else?
Sorry, I haven't talked to you guys in a while, so I had some legitimate questions.
No, we're not done with Vegas here because before we jump all over the map, let's finish Vegas out and we gotta get your thoughts whether or not this team is covered from top to bottom. We got a trade deadline coming. No matter what, you always got the feeling from the moment they came into the league that they want to be around the action. When there was an Erik Karlsson available, they were in on it. When Pietrangelo looked like he was playing out his contract in St. Louis, they were in on it. They just seem to always be in on it. Is this lineup too good to be in on anything?
Well, anything big, I would say they're not in on it. They've done the adding and the stockpiling. Could you tweak? Could you add depth? Could you go somewhere with your third line? Could you add a pivot on that side? I think they're probably looking around in that area to see if they can get. But last year they added Nick Cousins, that type of deal. But salary is going to be an issue. They'll have to move some money out if they do something to that effect. But goaltending, blue line, top 6 plus Alex Tuck has been great. Their fourth line is stable. There's not a lot to tweak with this hockey club right now. They're good. They're really good. Their top line, Pacioretty, is getting up and down the ice like I've never seen him before. And we all know he can shoot and he's got that great release. But Chandler Stevenson has made that line quicker by moving the puck in his feet. Mark Stone's having a career year. He's going to be in a Hart Trophy conversation. I think it's McDavid's and then everybody else. But Mark Stone is that good. He'll win. I think he'll win the Selke. And their second line is a 200-foot line, and Shea Theodore, Alec Pietrangelo, Alec Martinez. You guys, Alec Martinez. I can't, every time I watch him, I think of Doug, because when Alec Martinez, he made Doug jump 7 feet in the air when he scored the overtime goal to end the Stanley Cup final in 2014.
Why? Tell him why. Because he got to go home.
I wanted to go home. I had my fill of it.
Because he got to go home. That's why.
People don't realize that when you're covering a Stanley Cup final like that, whoever wins game 1 is who you're cheering for the rest of the rest
100%.
And we would have had 2 days off and traveled across the country back to New York if the Rangers would have won that game. And Alec Martinez scores, and Doug, like 7 feet might be conservative for how high you jumped.
One of the happiest days of my life. Well, it was a really happy day because we had heard earlier in the day that Pierre Maguire was going to be named general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Remember, Pierre was telling us that, or telling people that. And then Martinez scored. So it was just a double happy day for me. You know, happy for Pierre, didn't work out, and also happy that I got to go home.
Wasn't that the same trip where you couldn't meet us for a hit? You kept delaying it and then we found out that you were actually interviewing for the Pittsburgh Penguins coaching job?
Yes, that's true. And I couldn't tell you that. And then Scott Morrison showed up. Remember, Scotty showed up.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was a great trip, but we were very happy that
this
they won.
the one more trip note on Vegas. The blue line gets a lot of praise because of Martinez, Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, Braden McNabb, but they've fit 3 kids into the fold from the back half of last year in Zach Whitecloud, who's now played 50 games. And he was a free agent acquisition. They signed him out of Bemidji State. And another one of those Brandon guys, but then Nick Hague and they're Dylan Coughlin scored 3. They've got 3 young defensemen to go with the rest. So there's a bit of a mix going in, and you know how tough that is, Doug. I mean, 3 of your 7 defensemen have less than 50 games.
No, the big question is, are they feeling? I mean, they're a young franchise. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable how far they've come. But are they feeling the pressure right now that it's all about what they do at playoff time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the challenge now. You've moved past that expansion stuff to, hey, when whatever happens, it's almost like the Leafs. It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. It's all about what you do at playoff time, or that's just what it is when you become good.
Now, the fans are still in the stage of enjoying the regular season. They love it. The ratings are great. The radio show that I do for a couple hours a day is jammed with callers. Like they're still enjoying that ride. There's not the frustration that there would be in a Toronto. But the players, it starts with Bill Foley. Bill Foley says it's Stanley Cup. Like my goal is to win a Stanley Cup, and there's no other mention of that. And Mark Stone, I've never heard from a team that talks about winning a Stanley Cup more. And it's not let's see where the chips fall. Let's make a good run. Let's try and get to a final. It is pure and simply, when the players talk, it is about winning a Stanley Cup. Well,
he started that when he wrote the check. When he wrote the check to buy the team, he was talking Stanley Cup almost day one.
Yeah. And that hasn't changed. He wants to win now, and he wants to win multiple cups. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, did they change the plan? Did they change the plan after year number 1? Yeah. Like it sped up. But the idea of what they want to accomplish, they want to put banners up.
Yeah. Can't have a Vegas conversation without getting into a little bit of a roller coaster ride of the goaltending net, Daren. And it had quite a different feeling for Marc-Andre Fleury in the bubble last season. We know the famous tweet by Alan Walsh.
What would Doug have done if Walsh would have done that to his team? Doug, what would you have done if Walsh would have done that?
He's looking at his phone.
No, I just like, I mean, I thought it was, I would have lost. I would have lost it. 100% lost it.
Lost his marbles.
But the first question I would have said is, did you do that yourself, or did you and the player do that? Did you conspire to put that out? I might have checked into that before I lost it.
You know the answer.
Yeah, I know the answer.
A team effort.
Yeah, exactly.
The turnaround in Marc-Andre Fleury has been extraordinary. Like I love watching him. I think he's so good for our sport, and he's been so great for this franchise. And he's a cool guy to be around, fun guy to be around. I didn't see what he did in the 17 games or 5.5 weeks that Robin Leonard was out. I didn't see that coming. Being able to carry the ball the way he did and be as spectacular as he was, and then to finish it off by playing both games in Colorado the other day and being brilliant in the second game. I just, at 36 years old, I didn't see that happening to be, he'd be good, but I didn't see Vezina Trophy caliber goaltending. That was one of the greatest runs and most enjoyable things to watch firsthand.
The thing that we didn't see coming at all was Leonard taking over the number one spot, which essentially he did last season in the bubble, and then follow it up with a $25 million 5-year contract, and the thought of getting rid of Fleury. And yet now it's the furthest from everyone's mind. But ultimately, are you a believer that you can't have that much money invested in your goaltending as early as next season?
Yeah. If you want to win, then you've got to have options. And can you imagine if they hadn't had Marc-Andre Fleury? What would the record be? It wouldn't be 742, with all due respect to what they have behind the two goaltenders. So can you ride it out for one more year, which is Fleury's contract? I think if you get through this year, then you can get through another year. They were very creative, and they were creative in the sense that they added along the way as well. Yeah, and on the goaltending front in the bubble, it should be noted like Robin Leonard was really good in the bubble.
He was, absolutely, and he's a great goaltender. He is.
Isn't it amazing? I go back to when I made a big trade in Columbus, and I traded Kevin Adams to Florida for Ray Whitney, and my owner lost his shit. Like, he lost it. He was so mad at me for trading Kevin Adams. And yet Foley has been steadfast in that Fleury is not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He's our franchise. He's the most important guy in our franchise. The fans relate to him. And yet there's been a ton of conversation that he was going places. Was it Foley that stopped it? Or was it Leonard's injury that stopped it?
Well, I don't think it was Leonard's injury that stopped it, because that was past the point of moving things around. Was it a combination of money, being able to move the money around and making the money work around the National Hockey League? I mean, putting this is before the Fleury run, and you think you're probably selling a bit low, and finding a spot for that $7 million would have been tough. So a combination, and I don't think it ever got to Bill Foley's desk. Did they look at it? Sounds like it, but I don't think it ever got to that point. They realized that they were going to use both goaltenders going forward.
Okay, one more on Vegas real quick. Everybody sees Vegas and Colorado head to head. I'm watching Colorado. I'm watching Rantanen. The guy looks stronger than he did even a year ago.
Yeah.
He's hit his all-time manhood, man. He is a horse out there. And they're quick, Daren. But maybe the one question is goaltending, and you give that edge to Vegas. So is this what we're all anticipating? Colorado versus Vegas?
Well, Minnesota has been great too. I wouldn't count them out. Nobody saw Dallas getting to a Stanley Cup, and look the highs and lows that they've been on. I don't want to judge Colorado deeply until after the trade deadline and see what they do. They'll add something, right? Like they've got to add a goaltender of some performance level. Is it Dubnyk? Is it Reimer?
Off of waivers.
Is it?
No, just trade it.
Yeah.
Oh, same difference. What was it? A 6th rounder?
Yeah, that's less than waivers.
So let's see. Less than waivers.
He's right.
I've heard that phrase before.
There's no fee. There's no fee with a pick. Waivers, you got to pay a fee, don't you?
I want to see what they do. Like, their blue line is so dynamic. Their top two lines are great. Their third line's performing now. Their fourth line has energy. They're really, in a lot of ways, mirror what Vegas does. Slightly different style, but they do match up really well. Do they have depth? Colorado's gone 3 deep in the playoffs the last couple of years. last 2
But-
years in goaltending. So they get in. Can you play Grubauer this much and still expect him to be healthy? Let's see.
Look, the fact that they didn't go to the final, the fact that they lost to Dallas last year, it has shocked me that they haven't tried to fix that position. I'm sorry. I know Grubauer got hurt, but Daren, they were giving up 6, 7, 8 goals a game against Dallas in that series. I mean, it was embarrassing. Dallas had no business winning that series. It was strictly Colorado's goaltending, and they go into the playoffs essentially with the same goaltending prior to what you say they may do.
So what would you do? I'll give you 3 choices.
Who's out there? Look at the goaltenders that are available.
Bernier, when
He's
That's
at the top of the list, but health issues.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
so Dubnyk, Reimer. So there's 3 guys that you could grab with varying degrees of compensation. Who would you pick?
Might be in a race with Washington to grab one of those guys too.
What I might have considered doing was doing it last summer. So they had your goaltending in place, because when I look at the guys that are available, and Quick could be in that mix, those are not comforting names to me when you're trying to win a Stanley Cup. If Grubauer happens to go down,
See,
That's
that's
the
what
extra
scares
salary.
me. You guys have an amazing advantage over Colorado just off the goaltending position, as long as Leonard comes back and is healthy.
All right, Nick Kypreos here. Daren Millard, our special guest with Doug Maclean. If you're watching, hit the like button. We still want 300 likes, right, Jordan, to get us to a huge Q&A later on.
If you guys want to ask questions and have them be answered, then you have to grease the wheels a little bit here, you know?
Oh,
It's
so
a-
you want people to like phone in or send in questions?
So yeah, they send in questions. We try to do it maybe around once a month. We set a goal, and if they hit our like goal while we're live, we have a fun little time asking questions. They send them in on Twitter at _line_movement or in our YouTube chat here. But alas, we haven't reached our goal of 300 yet. Maybe today's the day.
Come on, people.
And we're closing in on 10,000 subscriptions to our show as well.
500
Oh,
left.
that's great.
500
left.
The only way we have a snowball's chance of hitting that is if the goddamn roof falls in here.
Again.
It'll be a lot more expensive at the studio that you're in now than it was at the studio where
You still get that. You still get mentioned that episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and it came back in full force the other day when the ESPN in the studio in Columbia where the soccer studio fell in.
I saw that.
And then all of a sudden there was shot after shot after shot of Doug Maclean ducking.
Is that guy, is he okay? Did we ever hear?
No, he was great. He was fine.
He was great.
Yes, he walked it off. He tweeted after. I cannot believe that he was okay.
I absolutely blew that when that happened. And I got a little bit and just nicked a little bit. And I don't know how Scott Moore ever got my phone number, because he sure as hell never phoned me before in the 6 years I'd been working at Sportsnet.
And
I get a call that afternoon. Yes, Doug, Scott here. And I said, Scott who? Morrison? No, it's Scott Moore. Oh, you're the president of Rogers. Right. How are you doing? He said. I said, I'm doing great. I blew it. I should have went on compensation for a couple of years. I blew that.
At least.
Did you get a call, Kip?
I got a call too. I
didn't get a call. That shows you where I rated in that
in the pecking order.
Yeah,
in the pecking order for sure.
You got a call. You got a call later. You got a call a few months later.
Yeah. I remember that we threw to break. We got things settled after the ceiling caved in. We threw to break. Then we finished the show, and still no boss has called. And then we went down to the 8th floor, and Matt Marstrom, our producer, said, "Is everybody okay?" Yeah, because we had a game that night, and we were going to open the show with that roof cave again, and Marzi said, one of the bosses said, we'd rather you not draw attention to it. I said, the roof caved in. I think there's some attention
on live TV.
On live TV. Yeah, we're on CNN right now. I think we're okay with that.
Thus, the success of our show is that they never really paid attention to it in the top offices.
No bosses. No bosses called. But I think that was a good thing. Like when you look back at it, was it not a good thing that people kind of let us do our thing?
Except
I thought it was a great thing.
No. Except we had to talk about the Leafs for the first 20 minutes of the show.
But we didn't really.
Well, we were supposed to.
It was off and on.
And the Leafs were either really bad at that time or trying to get a little bit better. But like there's 3 or 4 years of our show where like that was waffle time, that was paper bag time. There was a few different things going on. Remember, Colby was playing for the Leafs at the time. There was
the Daren Millard, Brian Burke episode of the All-Star game in California, which are in Carolina. That fueled it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that was a legitimate question, and Brian disagreed with that. He and it went on for like 3 hours. He was
3 years. It went on for. It's still going on with Berkey.
You did try to turn it into a bigger story. Which was your job. If Phil you could turn it into something.
Phil Kessel was taken last. Remember, there was the player draft?
Yeah.
Ovi.
And Phil Kessel was the last player taken. And I just said to Berkey, like, comment, like, because you got to think it wouldn't be a great feeling. And Berkey didn't agree with or didn't like my question.
Wow.
And it was over text. And my data charges were very extreme from that trip.
Listen, if anyone's going to give you a great soundbite, it was him, right?
It was great. Yeah. No, Berkey, and I partly deserved that. I won't deny it. It was worth it. It was good.
It wasn't a soundbite you could use.
No. He was using characters on that phone that I didn't even like on your flip phone that I didn't even know existed.
Okay. Those promos, I don't know if anybody's watched them on the internet, but they were some fun promos that we did, especially the three of us with that flip phone, because Matt couldn't say it.
My favorite part about the promos was when the crew would be shooting something that we're not involved in, and Mac would be talking about how long they're taking to shoot or whatever because it's delaying whatever he's got to get to. But not realizing that he's still wearing a microphone and he's talking about the sound guy and the camera operator. And they're all listening to exactly what he's saying the whole time.
Not good. No, not
good. Mike.
That's a Tim Peel moment.
I love the commercial when after we did the commercial, then we went into our dressing room, we had the towels around our necks. like we were the players, you know?
No, the best part about that one was we had to kick people out of the fitness like the Rogers gym. They weren't allowed to use the change room for a bit because Hockey Central had to shoot a promo.
I'll tell you what, guys, we went through a lot, but the best thing we ever went through was the night Roger Millions was reporting live or on tape from Chicago.
On tape. Another switcher or someone didn't check the tape.
Yeah,
we made the Letterman show, didn't we? Or was it Jimmy Kimmel show?
Jimmy Kimmel
show with that hit.
Yeah.
Can Joe pull that up and put that on for us or no?
So that was the where he did it. They put the wrong take in, and he said something, and I feel bad for Roger because he got the blame. Oh. Well, he took the I don't know.
To Roger's credit, though, they didn't fire him.
No, well, he didn't just. Well, he shouldn't have been fired. It wasn't his job. But all I remember from that is he says that, and I'm on the talkback button talking to the producer saying, "Don't come to us. Just go to commercial break," because I knew the two of you wouldn't be able to keep it together. Then they came back, and the only thing I said was Roger Millions with a report. So I threw Roger right under the bus.
A bit of a blooper.
Under the bus.
That's what you said.
And then stammered away. Because I didn't want you guys to talk about it because then I thought we'd for sure be fired.
I was shocked. I was shocked.
My last boss at Rogers, my last big boss at Rogers was David Azuma. And David told me that he was the guy that screwed up, put that tape into the show. And I said,
I'm sure he appreciates you mentioning that on our show.
And now you're my boss. I answer to you, David. I love David.
Oh,
Ozuna, by
that
the
poor
way.
guy.
I love
All these
David
years
Ozuna.
he's kept it a secret, and now you've shared it on Real Kyper at noon.
That was did we go for dinner after that, or I can't remember what we did after that. But that was like opening night of the Stanley Cup playoffs. You've got 2 months left, and that was opening night.
Yeah. By the way, was it the night that you and I still have our 2 receipts for the after party at
Yes.
Rogers?
Yeah.
You and I picked up the tab.
Yeah.
$700 each, and those receipts are still on somebody's desk at Rogers. Because they've never been paid. We've never got paid for it. Do you notice that?
Yes.
I think you guys could still go for it. I think you can still get your money back. I think it's 7 years to hand in a receipt, isn't it?
Oh no, it's
oh no, we handed in the receipts.
Or is that taxes?
I'm going through it right now with my good friends up there. They can go back more than 7 years.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Trust me on that one right now.
They're the real bosses, aren't they?
They are the real, and you can't get a hold of anybody there
which is a good thing.
Doug, any advice for U.S. taxation for me as I go through this transition?
Yes.
What I can write off?
Pay what you should pay.
That's a hard lesson that Mac needed to learn over 40 years.
The one word you don't ever want them saying to you is fraud. Just pay what you're supposed to pay. That's my only advice.
Sound advice from Tax. For all your tax questions and answers, please tune in to Doug Maclean.
Could we move on to a different topic?
Well, let's get into a few nuts and bolts around the league. We exhausted Vegas through our good.
They're
friend
really
Daren
good.
Millard.
They're really good.
Where do you want to start? Connor McDavid fined $5,000. Did you see it? What did you think? Everybody's screaming bloody murder, and it's like, please, it was like a wind burn.
I loved it.
You loved the hit or the fine?
I think he's going to be okay with the fine, and I love the hit. Everybody's going to look at it, and maybe it doesn't buy him a little bit, not room, but respect around the league. Like he's fighting his own battle. I think it's great. I don't want him fighting, but I like what he did.
The best line he said last night after the game. This just think about this for a minute. They asked him a question, and he said, "If I knew the answer to that, I'd be a billionaire." Most people would say, "If I knew the answer to that, I'd be rich. I'd be a millionaire." He said, "If I knew the answer to that, I'd be a billionaire." I mean, who says that?
Well, did you see Puljujärvi go offside on his goal?
Yes.
I would think that
on a 3-on-1.
Yes. So when he was hitting Kotkaniemi, he was really thinking of Puljujärvi. That's my theory. Because how do you go offside on a 3-on-1 with this guy included in the rush?
Yeah. How do you go offside at any point on a rush with Connor McDavid?
How many times?
You be the trailer is what you.
Oh my God!
You be the trailer, and then go to the net.
Mm.
We know this guy is gunning for major awards and a scoring title. How many times could Puljujärvi after that say, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry"?
Okay, would he say sorry, or would he just sit at the other end of the bench?
No. If he's smart, you say it to the point where Connor goes, "Shut up already. Okay, you're sorry," and then it's over.
You know how many times I say that on the golf course so that my teammate, when we're in playing in sixes,
Yes.
"Oh, I'm sorry, I screwed that shot up."
Yes. No, or begging for a Terry David Mulligan.
You guys play in sixums?
We play sixes.
Oh, sixes. Oh, six. Yeah.
Holes, yeah.
I have a question from a longtime listener, first-time caller, wants to know, did you ask that the gimme range be extended to social distancing limits? So 6 feet.
They're not called gimmies with the group I play. They're called Dougies.
Okay. This caller also wants to know if does your insurance cover his golf clubs if they're broken in the back of your Porsche going to the golf course?
And Mike Roberts would also like to know how your tennis game is, or how your guitar lessons are coming.
Can I
Mike
remind
Roberts, our
both
neighbor at
of
the
you
cottage.
Yeah.
what they taught me? It's no inside stuff here.
Oh, I know.
Okay,
I know.
no
I'm a
inside
guest.
stuff. Bring it up.
I already told the story about the golf club. You heard the story about the golf club, right?
No.
Well, I'm going to play golf with a buddy of mine. So we go down, and I go to get in his car. He's got a BMW, like an X5, one of those SUV things. He said, "Oh no, my Happy has it, his wife." And I said, "Well, that means we're taking my car." So we have to put the roof down, and we put the clubs in the back seat, a little back seat.
Yeah.
We play, we get back in the car, and I take the woods out and I put them back in behind the seat. And we get to the first stop sign, and I push my seat back a little because I'm and I hear a snap. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this guy that well. I think, please be one of my clubs. Please, not one of his. Then I said, except don't be my new $499 driver I just bought. It was his driver when we got home that I snapped with the seat. That's the story. So it's not an inside story.
Were you able to put it into the golf bag and cover it up so it wasn't your fault?
I'm going to give him $100 gift certificate, get a new shaft at the PGA store.
So, Daren, do you have an
Kippy.
appreciation living in Vegas now in terms of what's going on in the Western Conference? Because we know most of the writers come out of the East. They're like Mac. They go to bed by 10:30. Is there a new appreciation being on the West and watching teams a lot closer, including Vegas? Because I'm watching Carlson the other night, Eric in San Jose, and he has a pretty good game. And I'm sure you guys caught the clip that went viral.
Oh yeah,
where he was asked, was this the best offensive game he's ever had? And he's chomping on an apple, which in itself is hilarious. But
that was you. That was the way you eat.
Yeah.
Like
don't face. He says, not even close.
And stops. Like next question.
Dead stops.
Yeah.
Great.
I will say this. There's been a couple of moments where I've been enough already with the Toronto talk. Like I see it from this side now where the whole world, Toronto has a couple of good games and then that's all you see or hear. So I get that now. I do appreciate the blowback or the frustration that people may have. But one thing I am slightly worried about, people have trouble keeping track of some of the West Coast teams during a regular year. When you're not playing any of them and you're not invested in having to watch the West Division every night, how are you going to vote on some of these awards? It's gonna. I think there could be a couple. Thank goodness Connor's having a lights out year, and he's going to separate himself a little bit. But I think there could be some misses along the way here.
Do you think it should change now? The voting system should change. If you're the NHL, do you have concern that a large portion of people voting aren't watching that closely?
Yeah, I have concern there, and I think what they should do is each division nominates its own winner of the respective categories. So the West gets a Vezina, the North gets a Vezina, and then you put the four of them together and you vote from those for this year only. Same with the Hart Trophy. The North gets their nominee for the Hart Trophy, the West and the Central, right. and that's probably the best way to do it from a year-end awards perspective. Otherwise, I don't think it's. And then you can do your research. But if you're trying to track the whole league this year, like it's really difficult because you're not seeing, even the national announcers aren't seeing the league. The American announcers aren't going to Canada and watching firsthand, and vice versa. And so that's what I would do. That's what I proposed.
You should do that all the time because they don't watch most of the time, whether this is unique or not.
True.
I mean, Christ, they didn't even know if a guy was a left shot or right shot. That's nothing to do with the divisions.
Ovechkin?
Yeah, like seriously. Where do we
have you guys ticked off? Have you guys ticked off Ovechkin lately? Because you've both had your little run-ins with Ovi, and he's continuing to get it done.
Well, Ovi and I go back to the hot stick.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that conversation and why I didn't like it? And we met up, I think, at an All-Star game. We had a bit of a conversation and
Played some video games.
Not quite, but he certainly knew where it was kind of trending in terms of more of a celebration, more of individuals kind of standing out. I don't think you'll ever see Ovechkin do a hot stick ever again, just in terms of where he is in his career. But I think there was a part of him that understood what I was saying, but didn't deter him enough from standing up for himself. So we had a good conversation about it.
What about Patrick Marleau? Hey, by the way, just a note. Can you believe Mess got that close to Gordie Howe and didn't pass? As Patrick Marleau gets close to all times games played, that's one thing that jumps out at me, that your buddy Mark Messier got that close to being the all-time games played leader.
I don't think he ever cared one bit. I don't think Mark
really
would ever sit there and go, that's one I needed. It all depends on how you want to look at things. If you're Patrick Marleau, you've got the longest NHL streak where you've never won a Stanley Cup. I mean, it all depends on the way you want to look at it. It's incredible already. To play over 1,000 games is tremendous longevity. To say, you pass Gordie Howe, and whether or not people still believe that he should be in the league or he deserves a spot over a younger player who could benefit the team maybe a year or two from now more, it's,
I say what you just did there.
What's that?
You made a statement without trying to make a statement.
Yeah, like, don't pass Gordie Howe. Don't pass Gordie Howe.
It all depends on what you think is important. My whole point in this is I don't think Mark Messier ever looked at it for 2 seconds and said, I need to play another, what did he need? 30 games, 40 games? What did he need?
10, wasn't it?
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
A handful?
Yeah.
I don't think Mark ever counted that as being anything super, super special, passing Gordie Howe. That's my opinion. I've never talked to him about it. It's just my opinion.
Listen, we had some great times at Halloween. And I'd like to know, Daren, it's the final question I'm going to ask you. We did the Wizard of Oz. We did, the Kiss.
That was the best one.
What would you dress Gary Lawless up as when you guys do yours in Vegas?
Well, we did Channel 5 or Channel 4 news, Anchorman. We did that one year, 2 years ago.
Who was he?
He was the sports announcer, the cowboy hat.
Oh yeah, okay.
You were Carol?
Yes.
Of course.
I can't remember who I was. I remember I had a mustache though. So we did that. That's a good point. Any suggestions? No, I don't even want your suggestions because
don't ask me for my suggestions.
Yeah, you just
It's just not going to be. It's just not going to help. It's not going to.
He would come on a Hockey Central.
God, we had a lot of fun.
So Lawless tweeted out the other day something about to Hockey Central at noon, saying, "Hey, why can't I get on that show?" or something to that effect. And I just responded from over here, you used to get on that show all the time. I don't know what changed.
They just they had up the picture of Doug Maclean as Gene Simmons, which still to me, we've done a few costumes over the years, but that one was jumping
really
the shark
good.
too.
And you walking through the cafeteria at Rogers was brilliant. And people actually thinking you were Gene Simmons.
It was bizarre. Gene Simmons even thought I was Gene Simmons when he saw it.
How did we ever talk you into that?
Do you remember when we had Gene Simmons on Hockey Central?
Yes.
And
yes, I do.
And you were I can't remember what you asked him, but it was strange and left field.
Why was he on?
I don't know why he was on.
Talking
but
hockey. He was a season ticket holder somewhere.
No, wasn't he trying to buy a team, or wasn't he trying to get involved in
he had an
Tampa or
arena
something?
he had an arena
Something was
football
up.
league team in Anaheim, and I don't know what it had to do with, but somehow we had Gene Simmons on Hockey Central at noon, and Doug was asking questions. So you've got this band, and he's got a band.
Pretty good band.
Pretty good band. But I think he actually did appreciate it, because
listen,
you didn't try to kiss his butt.
There's a lot of Simmons in PEI. I thought he was a Simmons from like Wilmot Valley. One of the Simmons from Wilmot Valley. That's what I thought he was. They own a Cool Breeze, you know? Those are the Simmons that I know.
Is that the Simmons?
Yeah. Simmons
I didn't
family
know
owns
that.
Cool Breeze. Yeah.
Well,
Everybody
just
in PEI is either what you own, or like you're by the corner or the traffic circle, but it's not called a traffic circle. It's got, like, what's the traffic circle called out east of town?
A Rotary.
But that's the
We call it a
area?
roundabout in northeast United States.
Wilmot Valley.
Okay,
The Wilmot Valley roundabout.
Yeah, like the glass dealership. Our buddy Randy Novus.
Yeah, Novus. Yeah.
Well, just a shout out to Deb Berman, who helped us with the costumes over the years, and Hillary with the makeup. That was a big part of Hockey Central at noon, and we appreciated their efforts.
Yes.
Let me ask you something as we kind of close this thing out. Is there a chance by the end of the year that maybe you could lead a power play meeting, and maybe Lawless does penalty kill? Is there a chance DeBoer or Steve Spott will let you do that by the end of the year?
Well, I know this. Steve Spott is as excited about this reunion as anybody in the coaching staff. He's been clamoring for this reunion for a long time. So whether the power play goes guns a-blazing or not, Steve Spott's a happy guy. Would you want me to go ahead?
Tell Steve I didn't know he's an assistant coach there. Now I'm going to start bragging him up. I didn't know he was there. I was wondering where the hell he was. Tell him he's got to get out front a little more. Get in front of DeBoer once in a while on the bench, you know?
To answer your question that you got cut off on and interrupted, I would never want you to run any type of meeting for my hockey club, but I know for sure that you would want to.
Yes. And it would probably end up something like when Gretzky's acquired by St. Louis, and I think it was Roger Nielsen was running the power play meeting, and Brett Hull kept saying, "Hey, Roger, let him talk. Hey, Roger, let him talk. Let Roger stop talking. Let Gretzky talk." That's probably what it would somehow end up like.
No, and then he told the other one. He told Hitchcock was when they're doing 3-on-2s. He used to say, "Hitch, do you want me to dump it in on the 3-on-2s or 3-on-1s? You want me to dump it in?"
I miss Brett.
So we'd have our team meetings in New York. This is the year after we won the Stanley Cup, and we had Ray Ferraro. Ray, of course, does a terrific job for TSN. And Coley Campbell goes through his game meeting, and then Dick Todd's job was to come in and just talk a little bit about a few different things, but the majority of it was about where our segment was. And at that point we had
the 5-game segments.
5-game segments. And in New York, man, it was just like candy to babies with these segments. So he'd come in and say how many goals we need for, how many we got to close against, and it's worth $1,500 this segment, $2,000 this segment. And he would come in and just say it in about 5 seconds, and then he'd end his meeting with, "Boys, peckers in the air." And Ray Ferraro looks at me stone-faced and he goes, "You work your whole life to get to the NHL, the best league in the world, and that's the help you get."
and
so that sums up your meeting, if you ever have one for Vegas.
So would you
Players
rather
can
me do
always
the
look
power
at you and shake their heads?
Power play or penalty kill? Which one do you think I could do?
Well, I think you would say, "Thanks, guys, but I'm going to go help Marc-Andre Fleury out a little bit. I didn't
I agree.
I didn't like his angle on the last goal.
I think you should keep doing what you're doing, and that's looking after the goaltending there. I think you're doing a hell of a job with it. Look at the masks in your background. It's obvious you're a goalie guy, and I'm sure the only reason Fleury's any damn good now is you went there. Gerard Gallant leaves. He was no good in the playoffs. You go in there, and now he's a friggin' star.
I got John Garrett's mask over here.
There was a point, I think, during the lockout that I would invite Daren out to skate with some of the local guys in Toronto, which included Lindros and DeMaio and who else?
Steve
Thomas, right?
Yeah.
And you held your own. You didn't embarrass me.
I took away the middle as good as anybody. It's really good.
He embarrassed me. He embarrassed me at the celebrity game in Charlottetown. He came in as our goaltender there. We had Drew McIntyre, who just won a national championship in Japan in the other end, and you in our end. That wasn't pretty.
Drew was still riding the wave of confidence from that national title. I had no chance in that. I still play. Kippy, do you still play at all?
We had it going a little while before this stupid pandemic shut us all down, but try anyways as much as you can. Still fun, even though you're a lot slower.
The worst part about skating with Eric Lindros was he always wants to do drills. My days of doing drills are over.
He pissed me off when his backhand was harder than my slap shot.
One-handed backhand.
That's when I got really, really pissed off. But those were fun times during the lockout. I don't know how we pulled it off because Doug was so friggin' pro-owner. It made me sick over those years, but we managed to get through it.
Doug, you were fairly pro-owner. I don't know whether he was. I don't know whether he was as pro-owner as you were pro-player, though.
Did you have a direct line to Gary Bettman's and Jeremy Jacobs during the lockout, Mac?
It really helped me get another job.
maybe they just didn't like the way I kind of hammered you every time on all my good points.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Mac, what would you do if you were in Philadelphia right now with Carter Hart? Like, would you try and get some goaltending help, or would you let him work through it? I'm actually legitimately curious how you would handle that.
I would let him work through it. I think they did. Kippy wanted him sent to the minors. I said,
I want him playing games.
Give him 3 or 4 days off. Try to work with it on his game. Try to have somebody that he trusts and likes with him. And get him back in there. This is their franchise guy. So
Vino's in the American Hockey League and him thinking that it was any type of punishment or I'm trying to embarrass him. It's go down, play a few games with the Phantoms, feel good, get some good energy from some of the kids around you down there, and then come back up. I told Mac last week, Mike Richter went down the year before we won the Cup and played 4 or 5 games in Binghamton just to kind of get his head on straight. And it was with a positive vibe.
My only concern with that is that if you send Carter Hart down like Richter and he struggles there, you got a disaster on your hands.
Then where do you go?
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm thinking.
That's a risk you got to take, and it won't happen. He's too good.
Yeah, well,
I didn't know Richter got sent down that year before that.
He had already had, I think, close to 100 games in the NHL when they sent him down. And there might have been a nagging injury, too, that kind of played into it. But the bottom line was he went down there, he had some fun, and then he came up re-energized. I think
guy had legs like tree trunks.
Oh,
like crazy. I can't believe he was a goalie.
I don't remember looking at his legs.
I don't mean just with the pads on either.
He could skate backwards as well as any defenseman too. And I think if you ever go back and watch his Stanley Cup penalty shot stop on Bure, I'm not sure people can appreciate how far he came out and how fast he backed up to make that save.
How tall was Mike Richter?
I think 4'7".
No, was he 5'10"? 5'11"?
Yeah, no. He was not 5'11". I'd probably say 5'10". Amazing,
isn't it, when you look at the goalies today,
Heels wasn't Heels
Right.
wasn't 6 feet, was he? So you want a tandem.
Yes.
below
John
6
Van
feet.
Beesbrook was 5'8".
Heels.
Seriously.
Glenn Healy on Mike Richter's shoulders would equal one Robin Leonard.
Yeah. In weight.
He's a big man. Leonard's a big
Vasilevsky.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leonard's a big man. He had the great line there in the playoffs. Big man can move when he wants to.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Big
I
time.
need some of
when
that
he's
back, I'm
around.
sure.
So what are you guys doing for the rest of the day? Like, what do you do now?
Well, I was up. I had a 5:30 wake up I had a 7 a.m. tee off. So I'm going to grab a little bit of lunch, and then I'm going to have a nap, and then I'm going to happy hour.
How was your front nine today, Mac?
42 on the front nine.
And
Oh,
Is that when the story ends?
Yeah.
did you
Yeah.
stop?
And I you know what? I made a goddamn mistake. I fired up a stogie. And I think I got dizzy from it. I ended with a 48. I had a 48. Oh,
What's the best part of your game right now? Are you to the point now where you play so much golf that you actually have expectations from
You
your
know
game?
what? I'm really pleased with most parts. You know what? I cannot figure out bunker play. I cannot figure out how to get. I just am so bad coming out of the bunkers. I'm so bad. As a matter of fact, a couple of times when I've missed it twice, then I just come in and reef it, and then I lose the ball way off into the, you know. Anyway,
Lots
bunker
to
play
work
needs
on.
some work. Yeah, all kinds. I'm just enjoying it.
Have you practiced? Have you ever taken the time to like go to a driving range and put a couple of balls in the bunker and work on that part of your game?
Well, you know what? I've gone up and worked a lot on chipping, and I've worked on the range.
Yeah.
But I haven't. There's no trap practicing where I play.
Oh,
And I got to fix that. I got to go somewhere and figure that out. I'm not happy with it at all.
I would be playing every day in Vegas if I were you.
I mean, I'm either going to do that or I'm going to go online and buy one of those clubs called a Sandblaster.
The cheater clubs.
As Mike Roberts always says, don't try to improve your game on Amazon. Go to the driving range.
Vegas.
what is
There's
the
like
point?
8 golf courses within 5 minutes of my house.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I drove by it there and I saw them all.
So do you not do you go as often as you can? I would.
Yeah, but we play every second day right now. But between
it's tough.
so with this fall when we had the fall off, which you never do, played quite a bit and it was great. And I played 4 straight rounds with a caddy. That's how much fun the golf. That was cool.
Wow.
Your putting's a lot better with a caddy.
Yeah.
I'm big time now.
My caddy left at the same time the private jet left when I left Columbus.
Listen, unless his caddy's Jill, he won't listen to anybody.
I heard Jill is not happy with him with the pickleball. That she's a little sour with his attitude in the pickleball court. Is that true?
Because he hogs the court.
All she said is, I don't enjoy playing golf with you, and now I don't enjoy playing pickleball with you. That's all she's ever said. It's not a big deal. I gotta go, boys. Nice chatting.
All right, well, listen. Thanks for Daren. Thanks for doing that. Jordan, did we hit 300 likes?
We
did we hit
not.
that magic number?
280. Tough break for the chat today, so maybe
280.
for next time.
There's still a few seconds for
We still have
everybody
time. We
to
still have
jump on
time.
board here. But Daren,
If I can send in some Q&As, I'll give the last 20 likes.
I don't
I'll
think it
sponsor
works
the
that
last
way,
20 likes.
unfortunately.
wow, we are so close. But
Just
what
a
a
minute, I
great
didn't
show,
hit-
Daren. You gave us a good hour and change here.
Yeah,
I
it's
say
terrific.
we do this every 3 years.
You know what? I would love if you would do it every Wednesday in my place, and I could just do Mondays and Fridays then.
No, he's far too busy. But we also
We've actually
have
done this twice though, because we did it on the Chirp podcast yesterday, recorded it yesterday, and then we did it today. So we've spent 2 hours together in the last 2 days.
that is
Seriously.
scary. That's a scary thought.
And no
So
fights.
no
fights.
fights, no nothing. Nobody threw anything. The roof
Well,
didn't cave
we're
in.
not sitting next to each other.
So I urge everybody off of this live show to go to the NHL.com, find the Chirp. Doug and I, we're happy to go back to back with Daren Millard
It's fun.
A terrific
a
job
win-win.
today, guys.
Yeah, Kyper, the
Reminiscing.
episode posted about an hour ago. It's on screen right now for everybody on Daren's Twitter account. You could follow through there, and hope you guys enjoy the show. And some other news, Kyper. A little guilt tripping. My mom was very good at this, but we hit 310 likes since I was roasting the chat a little bit. So good job, everybody.
All right.
We really appreciate it, everybody.
Doug's rolling
Over
the
300
joint.
likes.
I hit my like. I forgot to hit it early, so I was
Doug,
one
hands
of
up.
those. So
Put your hands up. Show everybody that you're innocent. I don't like this slander.
I can't because my armpits are soaked.
Yeah, don't do that, then. Don't do that.
I'm
then.
uptight.
You were nervous. You
Well, they
get
won't let
nervous
me-
around Daren Millard.
No, they won't let me put the fan on in here because it shows on the screen. So I have to sit in this room.
yeah.
No fan.
Jeez,
I'm on a tight shirt.
Hi,
cheeseburgers
Newman. Come
galore.
here. Say hi to Daren. Come here.
Oh,
Say
my
hi to
goodness.
there. Say hi to
Hey, Newman.
Daren. Hey.
Newman.
Okay,
Well,
buddy.
a terrific reunion show. Friends has got nothing on us. That's for sure. Daren Millard, thanks
Chandler.
again. Good luck to you the rest of the season with Vegas, covering Vegas. We will definitely have you on again before a 3-year gap. I promise.
If we have a parade, you guys can come and cover the parade because that was one thing we never got to do together. We almost in Vancouver covered a parade together, and Kippy and Doug both said, "I'm not covering any goddamn parade. I'm going home."
No, just the only parade was when we were driving home in the armored vehicle and they're breaking all the windows.
Yeah.
Remember that
Oh
one?
my gosh!
Oh,
Running for our lives.
Yeah.
say hi to Daren, Jill. Okay, Jill just said,
Hi,
"Are you
Jill."
still-" You know it's time to end the show when Jill comes in and says, "Are you still on?"
Okay, like it's like watching that old show Cheers, and Norm's wife is Vera. Does she really exist? Can she poke her head on the
Oh
show?
no, she's my favorite Maclean. She exists, and I
Take care,
I
guys.
love Mackenzie.
Daren, thanks again for doing this. Daren Millard,
Hey, boys.
everybody, host
Take
of
care,
the
man.
Vegas Golden Knights and the Chirp that you can find on NHL.com. Mac, we good today? I hooked you up with your buddy. Awesome show
I
today.
said it 10 minutes ago, but they wouldn't let me off.
Okay,
still
Joe
on.
and Jordan, thanks as always. And all of you, keep sending your comments. Subscribe if you're watching for the first time. Jordan, what did he say? What did I miss?
Just end the show. Jill's
Hey.
Jill's asking for some commentary in the background. We're not going to
Oh,
top
my
this.
goodness.
See you
Thanks
guys
for watching,
later.
everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you Friday.